We bop and hippity hop. I'm as happy as I can be. Boom, boom, and hippity zoom. Love sweet, love plan works. One.
Somewhere up here is a road that I really can't tell. Phelps.
Is this it?
It looks like it's not private property, not a winery. Oh, look, there's the metal sign. Are they open generally for other people right now?
Sure, look at all these people.
Or are these employees?
No. You still sleepy?
Yeah.
So where are we right now?
We're at William Chris Vineyards.
We're at a vineyard. We're over the whiskey thing.
Yeah, we quit. We're moving on.
It's real hard.
Yeah. And you gotta wait a long time.
I heard wine is super easy.
Yeah, it's no big deal. Yeah, no big deal.
So we are at the William Chris?
William Chris.
Got it. Because one of the whiskey quests we have going on with the community is the Hail Mary quest.
Because one of the bourbons went a little weird.
It's weird. It's not bad. It's just weird, man.
It is weird, yeah.
So we're gonna see if we can add some just interesting niceness back into this one particular barrel. And the good people here at William Chris are going to put some options in front of us.
Given the taste of this whiskey, which finish of which of these wines you think might work for us?
Sure.
They got somewhere around 2,000 barrels aging on this property.
Oh, nice.
So
I have no idea how this process works.
we'll find out. Yet one more person that makes me look short is Chris Brundrett from William Chris Vineyards. We are in between Johnson City and Fredericksburg.
Let's take some wine.
Yeah, let's do it.
So what room are we in right now?
We're in the basic production room. So we make 30,000 cases. So that makes us a really big, small winery. So that puts us in the top 10%. But the top 8% is like, 100 times bigger.
Yeah.
So like, we're still really, really small.
It smells really nice.
It smells really nice.
Yeah.
Most of you're getting we only have 2 fermentations finishing right now. Some Pétillant Natural Rosé, which I'll give you a little taste of. It's super funky, super awesome. Let's head up to the one of the barrel rooms and where the tanks are, some of the wooden tanks. These are some of my favorite things right now. We ferment in here and age in here. These are 1,300 gallon tanks behind me, 600 gallon tanks.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so this is...
So a brand new tank will just look very lightly like it's black, but not like, it's not charred at all. And then the wine stains it, which I think is really cool.
That's awesome.
I think that's awesome, yeah.
So,
we're in your office right now, and already it's like, good lord, man. Lots of stuff going on. So many things.
Well, you were talking about a second ago is what's the process? Of course, I don't know if this has probably kind of been done before, but we're definitely forging new ground here. You had a good recommendation, I think, of like potentially pouring some whiskey in a glass, like tasting it or pouring it out, and then pouring some wine in. And I think what you're gonna get, and I think that while I think that's good, I think you'll get much more of an integration process.
Okay.
Where there's actually wine in.
So that's one of my questions.
There's wine in the wood, and then
how fresh are the pours on the barrels that we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'll get a lot, and we actually see a bit of that. Although we try to do a pretty good job of rinsing those out. Like we use steam, ozone, hot and cold water, but you'll still see a little bit of uptake. Right. And part of the barrel process is micro-oxygenation, which I'm not really sure how much micro-ox is actually happening on a barrel, on a whiskey.
It's a lot, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's great.
That's the one thing time can't fix.
Right.
You can't rush that.
Micro-oxygenation, what the hell are you talking about?
Oxygen molecules basically make the wine more complex. It's kind of like why if you have a glass of wine and you leave it out all night and it tastes like shit in the morning, or I don't know, it tastes like shit in the morning.
Yeah, you could say it.
and that's because oxygen imbibed itself in the wine. It got almost macro-oxygenated, and then spoilage organisms can come and complete their process. We do the exact same thing in a barrel, but on a micro level.
Right.
Great way it was explained to me one time is, so you have a very fresh wine. We just get it out of the fermenter. It's just got done fermenting. we press it off, we settle it, and then we put it in a barrel. And if you taste it that day, it tastes like very fresh, and say maybe it tastes like blueberries, right? And we're just gonna do a hypothetical here. Well then, not only does the wine seep into the barrel and get those toasted notes, right? But over time, you'll say maybe in 3 months after that fresh blueberry, right? It will taste like blueberries and vanilla. And say in 6 months, it will taste like blueberries, vanilla, and that crust of the blueberry cobbler that my grandma made, and I get this like scent memory when she was walking by and she was fluffing the big towel over it, you know. And then you get the brown sugar, and then eventually you get blueberries, vanilla, that beautiful smell off the cobbler, and say cinnamon and a little fresh espresso. Then a year later, you get all those same things plus like this forest floor and like all these different unique things. So all that was there at the beginning, right? It just started elongating and getting more complex and more layered.
Those same rules apply in whiskey, right? And I always say with whiskey is that the only difference with what wine and time in the barrel is doing to whiskey is that it's a lot more accessible in wine, in the sense that I think wine wants to be your friend and is trying to, whereas whiskey tries to keep its secrets. And so time gives it that long, and that's what you'll hear people say, this tastes like a young whiskey. I think they're saying a similar thing,
age,
right?
So once you bottle it, it's
no, but I'm saying in the barrel.
In the barrel,
in the barrel, right? So when someone tastes a young whiskey, they'll say, "Oh, this tastes young," and what they're meaning is what you're saying originally.
Right.
They're meaning, "Oh, it's all the bright, sharp, none of the. It's not soothed itself out. It's not opened up the complexity. It's one note and one strong note."
Right.
Right. And so I think I don't have a lot of experience with wine finishing, but I'm wondering it'll need to stay in the barrel long enough to settle. Right, even the whiskey, you can't just dump it, let it sit, rinse it with wine, and dump it back out again.
Right.
Because then it literally tastes like you poured some wine in your whiskey.
Right.
It's got to settle, and it's got to go through. Well, in Texas, at least one range of temperature variances, right? And then it starts to really access all the things the wine was doing in there. Anything we do here to pick a wine or to give everybody choices, it's going to be all of our best guess. And then once we put it in there, it could be 8 months from now that we're like, hey, that thing we tried to fix, we broke it more. So 4 months ago, all the other barrels that we were ready to bottle had this deep, rich butterscotch undertone to these high grass and mid-range notes. And the mid was kind of full of these slight cherry tones, right? And then the highs had like the corn dust and the nice grassy spice, and then the barrel wasn't over dominant, it was a little peppery. This one didn't have any of those things that I said. It had all the grass and all the pepper, but it had no low rich sugar tones, and it had no mid-range.
So you're looking for more sweetness in mid-palate.
Yeah, I'm looking for mid to low.
That gives me a lot to go on, for sure, because that's something that we can build on. Where Josh and I were kind of talking earlier about which direction we would maybe look at steering, but that really helps. So
Good.
I think Josh doesn't know the whole problem. I didn't fill him in totally, but it's like a choose your own adventure. So they've got a bunch of fans that are making the decisions on every step of the process.
So that low butterscotch, and then the wood is definitely in there and pretty dominant. That last 6 months in Texas just kicked it up like crazy. And then in that mid, you got the light cherry kind of notes. And then it kind of all the finishes, that oily, grassy spice.
Yeah, you definitely want
like
some
corn
sweetness.
does.
It's missing that fruit.
You start with that Madeira barrel.
Yeah, I think we start with that for sure.
So these are empty barrels?
Nope, these are full barrels.
Full barrels.
These are.
Okay.
So it's a fortified white that we've been baking in the sun, and
Okay.
I've done in the Madeira
Yeah,
style.
you can see it. Look at the barrels. Good night.
And this is all orange muscat.
Wow.
Tannin, you know, is so much leached out in this.
Right. Weird. It's adding a butterscotch to that orange note.
Like real graham crackery too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Together, that is it's like a meringue
And this is when
with like a really buttery crust.
this, and actually there's one more that we should taste that I thought were like the first things that came to mind. Just because I don't know how much tonicity you really want to add to it. If you're looking for sweetness, you know, it's probably not tannin.
My
Super
God,
interesting.
that's good.
Yeah. The richness.
Son of a bitch. It brings out the citrus like crazy. Is it okay if I dump this?
Yeah.
I hate to waste it.
16 that would be.
I am the dump glass.
Something you could do too is like turn your glass upside down And then you can smell
I
it.
live that with whiskey all day long. With whiskey, that's the best way to smell it. Next round.
Just a different barrel.
Yeah, I'm getting the same category, but I'm getting less of the mustiness that was on the...
Yeah, it's got a little bit more high note to it. Having a little bit in your mouth, maybe.
Yeah, it really makes a difference. I think this one does better with the bourbon. It's a little more honeyed, and it takes it that direction a little bit. Now all of the like eucalyptus black tea notes in the bourbon are starting to come out because of all that orange sweetness. Normally when I smell this, I smell sugars, but I'm so getting leftover sugar on the wine. All the rye is showing up essentially.
There's less honey.
This is lighter. Yeah, but it's less dominating. So I think that was an order of, I'm in charge, let's be friends. What would you like to do?
That's a really great way of putting it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the most complimentary of the three. I mean, I could see pluses for all of them. This one would be the most like a finish.
Right.
These would be like a pairing, almost.
That's a good, yeah. No,
You know what I mean?
agree.
Like they would
This one-
they would marry.
The wine itself is a little brighter acid.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to get more on that back end than you would with the other two.
For me, that's my vote right there, solely because of the mid palate. This is the Malvasia. It's 2016.
So if we're looking for choices, are we going to try to stick to choices between these things, or choices between the one of these three we dug and something else?
We'll run down the street. I think the Zin actually might be really cool.
Dude.
For the record, that's an empty glass. He's just carrying it here. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are at our Miracle Mile warehouse, barrel warehouse. This is where majority of William Chris's barrels are stored.
We already decided on one of the choices, we think, that for finishing, right? And it's gonna be between two barrels probably the second and the third one we tried. Now we're looking for another option for you guys. So we're looking for something that was not a dessert wine.
Yes.
So this is...
This is La Pradera Carignan. One of my very good friends grows this. Andy Timmons, he's one of my oldest grape and industry friends. Ancient Seabed. This is not a very high alcohol wine.
Right.
But I really love the mid palate and the fruit. Kind of like a little cranberry.
It's like stewed dark fruits,
Yep.
not like fresh dark fruits, right?
Yep. Not raspberries, right?
Right.
It's definitely more of cooked.
You know what I like about that is it's thin in the sense of coating,
Yeah.
but it's rounded at the same time.
Yep.
And so you get that mid roundness, but it doesn't try to dominate
Exactly.
everything.
We wanted to show you what this vintage was like.
Eleanor glasses.
Yep.
And I'm trying to do the same thing we did with Muscat, which was what's my experience going back and forth between them, both in the nose and in tasting. I'm not mixing them right now. I got everything I needed to know from going back and forth. Because actually what lingered in the mouth was more impactful than blending it in the glass.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
As far as understanding what flavors I think it might add to it.
I don't know.
Wow, that accents the coconut in the whiskey.
I was just about to say the exact same
Did you
thing.
say the same?
Yeah. Like just going from back and forth.
Whole different ballgame. But this is so light and rounded. The bourbon taste smells sweeter.
Yeah, very like coconutty and lactone-y.
And
little
very almost
brown
like toasted
sugar.
coconutty.
Yeah.
Or I guess the toasted is the wrong word. I'm thinking dessert coconut. Like not real coconut,
Like
but
more
coconut
meringue-y.
mixed into a dessert.
Yeah. I didn't think it was gonna have that effect, so that's super interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely gave it a little bit of liveliness.
And it made this taste more tanniny than it did when I just tried it by itself. It left an aftertaste on this.
I wonder how many people have ever done like whiskey and wine.
I don't know.
There's gonna be some guy online just gonna be like,
That's the wrong way to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So right now, I could go either way.
Yeah.
So this is Cinso.
What's the goal with the Cinso? Because I'm getting a lot more of the minerally notes in there.
Absolutely. So we blend a bit of Cinso.
Okay.
But we love doing varietal Cinso because it's such a, I don't want to call it easy drinker, but medium to light bodied wine. Pour it, drink it. It goes really well with our cuisine.
Right.
Right. I think you're seeing so much of Texas wine industry is changing. Like, you know, newsflash, we don't live in California or France, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're not trying to make French wine or California wine. Like, we're trying to grow Texas wine, right?
Right.
So in Texas, we'll take breakfast, lunch, or dinner, wrap it up in a freaking taco.
Yeah.
And a tortilla.
A lot of oil, a lot of fats.
Yeah, a lot of smoked meats.
Yeah.
And you know, those go really well. It's like,
the longer I live with this, the more I'm getting like a blueberry darkness on it.
So this got, that kind of toasty blueberry.
Yeah.
More blue fruit and
But it's not first. It's like third or fourth. That's really good.
kind of like a fruit roll-up-y texture on the finish.
Oh! Okay guys, here's the weird thing. You're not gonna know this at all, but remember that sweet, beautiful barrel number 2 that Rex fell in love with?
Yeah.
Take a sip of that.
Yeah.
Swallow, take 2 or 3 breaths. It returns to that number 2 honey barrel that we found.
Honey is the word, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
Cherry creaminess too.
Yeah.
Like,
so we found this one barrel that stood out above all the 12 that we had as this really honey, creamy, rich.
I didn't see that one coming. You know,
Me at all. Yeah.
And it's still kind of going.
These don't try to hide each other. Hey people, you want to vote all 3?
Yeah.
And we dumped 3 barrels into 3 different wine finishes?
Do we want to stop there or do we want to add on?
Let's stop there. I think 3 is a good choice.
3 is solid, yeah.
3 is a solid choice.
So, just a little golf clap for me. I've been manning a stupid camera while you guys have been having the time of your freaking life. Thank you. Thank you.
Well done, you.
I'm wearing a master shirt right now.
Remember, we're not actually just pouring together whiskey and wine. All we are letting you know is what direction on the compass we are headed. Now, how long it takes to get to somewhere magical or whether it works, who knows?
This is a 100-year-old farmhouse. This was abandoned for about 20 years, this house, and my business partner and I, one of my best friends, Bill Blackman, or William, he and I came in and did this house totally. And so when we first opened, like quite literally, there was like, I took a bunch of old doors and like covered this up. And if you walk through here, you just would see dirt. And it was just Bill and I and like his sister that opened this place up with my wife. And that was it, man. And we just slowly added on. One of the kids, we had started to sand this down, and one of the kids that grew up here, he was like 80 when he came in. And he saw this, he kind of got a little tear in his eye, and he was like, I remember when Daddy and I painted that. He told me about how he made the paint. Like, because you couldn't just go to the store, and it was sheep's milk or goat's milk and caliche and grass. And they ground it up to make that paint.